Everything is different now. Took a while to figure out who I'm meant to be. Everything is changing now. I'm getting older, feeling down, stuck floating in between. I'm moving on and I don't know where I'm gonna go. But let me tell you this, the one thing I now know. When you feel young and your world becomes what it's meant to be, what it's meant to be. In my heart I'm 22, but I know that's not the truth. So I'll just dream beneath the stars. Remember what we used to do, hand in hand, just me and you. Those days days just seem so far away. 'Cause time's moved on and I don't know where I wanna go. But no more looking back, there's one thing I still know. When you feel young and your world becomes what it's meant to be, what it's meant to be. When you feel young and your world becomes what it's meant to be, what it's meant to be. With every journey there's a road, you never know where it goes. But as long as I'm with you, I'm home. With every sunrise there's a spark lighting up in our hearts, letting go of our past, what's left to lose. So take my hand, don't let go. This is gonna be a long road, but there's nothing that we can't survive. So hold my heart before it breaks. I feel the ground begin to shake. Oh, there's nothing that we can't survive. But there's nothing that we can't survive. There's nothing we can't survive. With every heartbreak there's a choice. Forgive or forget, but never lose your voice. But as long as I'm with you, we can find the truth. With every sunset there's a sky, reminding us to never give up the fight. Letting go while I hold on to you. So take my hand, don't let go. This is gonna be a long road, but it's nothing that we can't survive. So hold my heart before it breaks. I feel the ground begin to shake. Oh, there's nothing that we can't survive. But there's nothing that we can't survive. I keep holding on, I keep holding on. 'Cause there's nothing that we can survive. You've been calling me 1,000 times all through the night. Must be something on your mind. Know that you're lonely and you've been for a while. Can see it in your
Hello, everybody.
eyes. Can see it in your smile. I don't wanna let go. I don't wanna let go. We've been wanting more
Is it now?
for so many years, and now it's finally.
And that means we're live.
We are live.
I assume.
We are. Thank you, Cody. Are we waiting? Where's Andrew? It's late. Or Haruf? Is it who else? We need more people to join us up here. So one of you down there has to join us up here. Which one is it? IRL. Whoops. There we go. IRL joined us. Good. IRL. Want to get going? Oh wait, I think Andrew just came in finally. Stacy. Shanti, it's all you.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I think, Chris, you have an opening discussion that you want to have. Is that in the beginning or at the end?
It'll probably be after my normal starting point because we got to let everybody know what's going on.
Okay. So we're going to start off with Chris, and then today we don't have any due diligence presentations. We had 2 proposals last week that were rejected. AlgoSquirrel's DAO bot, and then as you can see, the node operations proposal, GemPay did pass. And then I'll hand it over to you, Chris. And then today Wilder is not around, so Zyphoid has offered to lead the open floor.
Oh wow. That's exciting. I am actually extremely excited that there is no due diligence this week, and it will leave time for a complete open discussion because a lot happened this week. I don't know if you've been following along in the Discord chat. IRL, I know you have, and you've had strong thoughts and feelings. So I can't wait to hear those, and I would love to actually hear from everybody else. But to start this off, why are we all here? What is this all about? Why have we actually continued to put on this effort, this amazing passion in the actual Discord community? And that is because we are building and launching and working on Voy and making Voy the best damn blockchain on the planet. And what we believe is that we believe that it's very important that the people putting effort in are the ones that are actually owning the network, that it is actually starts decentralized, starts distributed, and gets more distributed and decentralized from there. And we think it's BS that a chain can actually start centralized and ever actually grow decentralized. But the way that we actually do that is we do it through a multi-tiered governance system, because not everybody in the community can be involved as much as what is required to make the right decisions. So we have the lovely governors. You all here are an extension of the community. You have put in the extra effort and incentivized to do so. But at the end of the day, your job is to be the extension of the community members themselves. I think you've done a great job of that overall. I think a lot of you have listened to the community and given your thoughts and beliefs as part of the community. But it's also important that you do provide your expertise in other places to what you think is the best for the blockchain for Voy. It's extremely important that we have a bunch of different personalities, different types of ways of doing things, and people from different backgrounds, because a lot of these decisions, 100% of the tokens that were distributed during these testnet games were distributed by your votes. And we might not all agree. That's why we vote, and that's why we have the people that we do. That most of the time you shouldn't all agree. It would be rare that everybody does all agree. And it is also important to understand is that we all come at it from a different place, and we all come at it with the values of Voy. Now, we have a UIRL up here. Can you name the 4 values of Voy?
I certainly can, because I'm geeky to the core. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
What are they?
So geeky is I like starting with the ISO, but I like the thing. So anyways, we're going to be intentional, collaborative, Oh no, I'm going backwards now. Intentional. No, don't tell me. I know all of these.
I believe it.
Goodwill, intentional. I know all of these. Collaborative and
It goes with goodwill.
it does.
It's a requirement.
Integrity.
It's a requirement.
Integrity. Yeah.
Integrity.
Integrity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great job, IRL.
I-
These are all
I like geeky.
geeky is nice. It's very important that we have values because we plan on scaling to hundreds of thousands of community members, millions eventually. And when you truly are decentralized, when you don't actually have a person telling you how to act, or you get fired like a bunch of centralized companies do, you need to be able to have a strong, simple set of values that people can embody to actually truly scale appropriately in a decentralized way. So those 4 values are extremely important to us. And goodwill being goodwill, because there's too much toxicity in the world in general. When people come in, you have to assume goodwill. You have to assume that the people coming in doing or making the decisions, they have the best intentions for the community in mind. This is important because we need to be welcoming. If we're going to scale, if we're going to actually be a platform that is used by the mainstream, we need to make sure that the people feel welcome. They might not have good ideas, or you might not think that they're good ideas, but you have to assume that they have the best intents, and you should approach that situation in that way. If you think that you could help them, reach out and help them and say, hey, I have a better idea. And it's very, very important. But the one that pairs with it, that's I told IRL a second ago, what is actually the value that pairs with goodwill is integrity. Is that if everybody here has goodwill about the people coming in has to actually have goodwill. They have to have integrity. They plan on not taking advantage of people, not taking doing the right thing. They have to have integrity, and it's very, very important that we all have that. Collaborative. This is something that I actually get in fights with quite a bit with people, is that I am a very big supporter of open source technology. I'm a very big supporter of people helping each other, even if they are quote unquote competitors. The reason for this is because we are aware this is a bleeding edge technology that doesn't have the benefit of being around for years and years and years and years. We need to help each other. We need to actually build off each other, and we need to work together. And open source technology really helps that, because people can see what the code is. They can take the code, they can build upon it and do something else. When everything is closed, when everything is tight knit, it makes it much harder, and makes it harder to actually stand on each other's shoulders. So I'm a huge supporter of open source, especially at this stage. And it's already proven to be very good, because the projects that are furthest along in the Voi ecosystem are the ones that have been collaborative with each other. The ones that are behind the scenes and doing their own thing, they can be adding value, but they're not as far along as the ones that are being collaborative. So it's super important. And the final one is intentional. Just kind of go with like the collaborative, is that yes, it's important to be collaborative, but it's also important to be intentional with what you're doing. Ask yourself, the effort of you're putting in, does it actually matter? Is it moving the needle? Is it actually making things better on a grand scheme? Because we're so few resources, we need to make sure that we are putting our efforts where it truly does matter. So those are the 4 values that we all need to ask ourselves: do we hold to those every day? Yes, we can make mistakes, but at the most part, if we use those to check us, we require a police system. We can police ourselves. Say, hey, do I have goodwill? The actual value I want to call out specifically this week, and this is actually the first reoccurrence of a community member that we're giving a shout out to, but it's been a while. And the specific value I want to call out is integrity. And the person I want to call out is our good old buddy Yusuf from the Turkish community. A lot of us English speakers don't really see the Turkish community much, but honestly, it's probably one of the largest and one of the most active groups in the Voi ecosystem. If you just click on the Turkish speaking channel, you can see constant conversation, constant people going through. And the name you'll see over and over again is Yusuf. He isn't part of the core team. We actually rarely talk to him, other than, checking in on him from time to time. And he's there every single day, answering questions, helping people. And why I say integrity. So it's great that he's being collaborative and everything. He owns all of the values, but integrity is actually probably the one that I want to call out this week. And integrity is, I've sent him lots and lots of via to continue to actually to promote that community, and he has given it all out every single time. He's I've entrusted him with that the bucket of via, and he's taken it and said, "Here you go, community. To keep spamming and keep them active." And it's amazing that he's been doing it. I don't know who he is. I've never met him in real life. He's just a community member that has stepped up and not asked for anything. There's actually been times where, because I told him I'd give him a certain amount every month, that I forgot, and he didn't even reach out to me when I forgot. And I was like, oh, wait a second, here you go. And it's very amazing. So Yusuf, I hope you're watching this. I'm probably even pronouncing your name wrong because I've never even talked to you. But thank you. And actually just a shout out for the Turkish community in general. You are all amazing. I am for sure going to take a trip to Turkey and do a talk once we hit mainnet, once we do things. I'd love to actually meet a lot of you in person, and you really are a special community. So thank you for that. So that's my intro. But I'll move on to the next thing. As you all have seen, we have made the announcement of the date of the end of the incentivized testnet. Of course, there's a lot more information to come out about this, but that does mean that the point system of the VOI and VIA will be over on that day. That means that if we give out any more VIA or VOI after that date, it doesn't matter because the snapshot will be taken. And the other question that Walter brought up was what happens to the governance committee? There's no longer incentive because you're all incentivized with VIA. What we want to do is that we want to recognize all of the hard work and the amazing thoughts and effort that you've put in and keep this going. We want to make sure that we have a weekly meeting that we're called a roundtable that will make sure that we keep everybody in the loop, ask questions, and use you guys as consultants as we go forward. It'll work very similar to how this current system works. We will open up to anybody that wants to come, not just the governors, but would love for you guys to keep going and give us advice. Obviously, you don't have to. We don't have to do this this far, and as of right now, there's no incentive to do it. But I believe that you are now invested enough to want to keep continuing, keep giving your opinion, and continue to be part of it. So that's what my thoughts are. I'm sure there's going to be tons of questions about it, and I expected that. I wanted to make sure that we made this announcement in the complete open and not just in this meeting, just to make sure it was fair to everybody that's participating in the game and not just the governors. So that's what I did. And yeah. So does anybody have any questions or any thoughts about that?
Reverse Synapses says, how will this affect the VOI games originally slated to end May 3rd, I believe? And I think I saw a response in the Discord from you, Chris, that had said it'll just be prorated to the 1st.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize that. I thought actually the end of the games was May 1st. That's why I picked May 1st. So we'll just prorate the last. We'll take 2 days off the final week and make it May 1st.
I got the feedback that you announcing that now is so there's a short time frame between now and when the testnet will end, and this could be like weird for builders who are trying to build something now.
Yeah,
maybe
I would tell them to hold off if they're worried about not hitting milestones, and resubmit a proposal for mainnet. That's kind of like where we all knew this game was ending. and we all knew it was going to be like a 3 to 6 month period. Ended up being longer than what we originally set out to be by a little bit, I believe. I think so. And so like it was coming, and 4 weeks or a couple days short of 4 weeks felt like a good number. An entire month, because it's April 3rd today, and May 1st felt like a good amount of time. And so this should give any builders building enough time to get to their latest milestone, to be able to get paid for the upcoming milestones. One of the things that I feel will happen in the next 4 weeks will be a lot of the builders that have already built things that never have actually submitted the proposals to actually submit for the things they've already built. One of the things that comes to mind is HighForge. HighForge is built and did something really, really, really valuable and did something amazing, but never did actually proposal for it. I assume that will come as a proposal soon. And I'm sure there's many other things that have been built that we'll see proposals for. I don't recommend that we approve any more proposals of things that haven't been built yet, just because I think there's a huge opportunity of them not getting paid out. I can't prevent you from doing so, obviously, but that would be my recommendation. And yeah. So Super Synapse had a question: how long is expected between testnet ending and mainnet starting? I want to be very clear. I'm not saying testnet is over. I'm saying the incentivized testnet phase 1 is over May 1st. There will be another phase of testnet, I believe what we're calling is the voyage to mainnet. And there will be another set of incentives at that point.
I don't like to refer to the voyage as another phase, though. There's some aspects in the voyage that are related to testnet.
It's the transition period from testnet to mainnet.
And you have no estimate, it said?
We're estimating 2 months, but don't hold us to that. No more questions? There's a lot of you in the crowd. Excellent. How many of you in the crowd will still be participating as part of the weekly roundtable?
Likely.
Hey, Chris, I do got a question. I think actually Super Synapse kind of asked on it, but for like once the May 1st ends and, obviously all those snapshots are taken, do you have any sort of like estimated time frame when, I guess maybe more additional information, whether it be like how much it would translate to mainnet or just even a summary of like, this is, what the things are looking at this point?
Yeah. So as always, the actual reward is going to be dictated by the appropriate regulating committee, which will be the actual foundation itself. We're not the foundation. So I personally have no say over that. That information will come, I'm guessing, over the next few weeks. There was another question that I think I missed about node incentives. The going forward for the next the transition period, the voyage, let's call it. It will be action-based incentives rather than a cumulative token point system. So most there will be a series of incentives that will or actions that will be incentivized, and node running, I would assume, would probably be one of them. Is Algorand's consensus upgrade expected to be replicated on mainnet? Which one? Yeah. Who knows whenever that will actually come? We probably, if it's not ready by the time mainnet, then we'll just continue to do a bot system. Ideally, whenever that does come, if it does work into our incentive program, we would use. But one of the things that I have learned in my crypto time over the years and years of doing this is never assume something's going to work the way that you expect, or assume something's going to come when you think it will, because everything changes over time, or dates are very fluid. So we are not beholden to that. We'll address things as they come when they are actually built. Cody, are you getting these questions on the YouTube channel, or do I have to actually repeat what the questions were? That's a great question, Ludo. What we're actually going to do is we're putting the onus on the actual user themselves to get their assets in their wallet by the time of the snapshot. So this is another reason why we're giving 4 full weeks, is that the users need to plan. If you have them in AMMs, if you have them bridged, if you have whatever, you need to get them into your wallets themselves. Redeem your devoy. All of these things, because we will do wallet-based snapshots, and we are not going to look at smart contracts that at all. Yeah. Any other questions? It's really exciting. You guys, I don't see enough tomatoes or exciting things in the chats right now, because we've finally made it to the point. We've got to the end of the testnet games, which was a battle. It was. Will Via and Void be traded 1-to-1? Yeah. As far as actually the point system, as always, Via and Void will both equal the same. How do you feel? Zyphod asks, how do you feel the testnet is going? I think the testnet, this phase 1, this main one, it blew my fucking mind. Sorry, Jay, if you're in the crowd. And the amount, so what we set out with this first goal of testnet is to actually kick everything off, to kick things off in a decentralized way, to establish our core members, our core believers, the missionaries, if you will, the people that want to put in the effort to make this happen. And the number of developers, the number of community members, the number of node runners, the number of NFT creators completely surpassed every single goal I had set out. I mean, when I first started this, I've told Bill that I would be happy if we hit 100 nodes by the end of testnet. We are sitting at over 800. When we did the NFT games, my goal is to get 10 NFT creators to actually launch a collection. We got more than double that. My goal is actually for developers. My goal is to get at least 1 AMM. We ended up having 2. Pretty much every single goal that we set out for the incentivized testnet was crushed. The main thing that we've realized, and why this testnet here is not ending at the start, or actually at the end of testnet, and we need one more phase, is because of the realization that this existing testnet kind of satisfied our goals, and the new goals of expansion and getting the word out and onboarding more people, it was becoming more and more difficult to onboard new people with the existing rule set. So we knew that the best thing to do is to end the existing testnet, give everybody high fives, and have a new set of goals of expanding, getting more people in, and before the full end of testnet. And so we've done it. You've done it. You've done the goals, and the This doesn't mean you go away by any means. This means that you participate in the next phase. This means that you continue the journey with us because this is our blockchain. So, is there any reason not to spend our VIA once testnet phase 1 ends? Some reason not to? I would say so. After the snapshot, is there a reason not to spend the VIA? I'm not going to answer that right now, because what's going to happen is for as over the next 4 weeks, you'll start seeing more and more information about the transition period, and you'll see what's actually happening and how that's actually coming out. So you'll know more information later.
I have another question from YouTube.
Sure.
From Yoka Stoda. I'm pretty sure I destroyed that, but he goes, so validators need to stop relay nodes, or what will do after this?
As far as actual relay nodes are concerned, I don't know yet. We continue need relay nodes after this, but we'll figure it out in the next 4 weeks. They will still be needed. As far as actually your NFT collection minting, this is actually, I think, overall not exactly the question that you asked Super Synapse, but one thing to keep in mind is that not every NFT collection is going to bridge their NFTs from testnet to mainnet. So what we're going to be doing in the next 4 weeks or so is figuring out what's everybody's doing, what's their actually plan, how they plan on actually minting things over, how they plan on bridging. But yeah, I'm happy to actually talk to you about what we can do about the rest of your collection as well. There's no reason you can't use the next phase of the testnet for any way you want as well. So there's things that you can probably do in the next the transition period with your minting of NFTs. One of the things that I would love to do right now is I'd love to actually look back on the testnet reduce governors and talk about the things that you really enjoyed. What were the highlights of the testnet so far? Anybody want to step up to the microphone? IRL, you want to say something?
I really enjoyed setting up my node and the node process and just how truly community driven and collaborative it was. We had non-technical users rolling up their sleeves and figuring it out with the help and a lot of hand holding, and it just made me really proud and happy overall. And then I also really liked the HighForge drop at the beginning of the NFT games. I'm big into NFTs and NFT communities, and it was more seamless than I could have imagined for a first testnet mass NFT drop. Right? And so, it's hard to pick a favorite, but I think those two would be the top of my list for my favorite things during testnet.
I think poor Ost. I'm pretty sure I asked him if he's ready for the traffic probably 10 times in the last couple weeks before the and every time I was yeah, no problem. We've set this up to be able to handle anything. But I was like, but are you really sure? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So I really am excited to see what HighForge does next. I really think that they are going to be the primary way for people to mint NFTs on mainnet. And I think there's a few features that need to be coming. And Oz has already actually said that he's going to be taking care of helping the bridging from testnet to mainnet. So there's going to be a lot of the NFT creators that have used them already will still work with them. And as far as actually the node running goes, it was fun. The whole remember back in the day, the D13 step by step, make sure you put everything in, and like watching where like the transition came with Pixel Node coming out and making it easier, and then Voice Swarm to the point where like it's ridiculously easy. And Henrik kept adding to Voice Swarm until like just this week, you can now use Voice Swarm to stand up a relay node, which is crazy. So a lot of really cool stuff. Cody?
Rob Sanders asked, so relay incentives for running a relay in April won't count towards Void games, as quotations, they won't be paid out till after May 1st.
No. Well, we're usually a little slow, Rob, but we can be on point to make sure that April is paid out by the May 1st. We definitely everybody running relay nodes in April should get credit. We'll just make sure that we do it ahead of time. I mean, honestly, I think that's I believe we'll figure out something for the relay node runners just because they're extremely important for the running of the testnet to mainnet. So. Lobo, you're quiet. That's impressive. So we'll move on to the next conversation then. So as far as actually governors go, or preparing for discussion after this. Okay. Well, let's move after this one then. If there's no more questions about this one, I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen. Is who wants to lead it? Was Zyphoid coming up for open discussion, leading that? That's what I heard. Where are you at, Zyphoid? I promise you I won't dox you.
How's that? Am I on?
There you are. I hear.
You guys hear me? All right. Hi, everyone. So let's get into it here. So one of the things that we were talking about in the directors meeting was potential changes to the proposal process. Now, like the incentivized testnet is closing here soon, but I imagine that a lot of what we've learned during this period is going to translate to mainnet as well, right? So it's still good to keep refining these processes and try to get them right. So, there a couple of things. So on the first evaluation period, feels like we need a better feedback procedure back to the proposer. This came up with Algo Squirrels, I think, in this one. There was a lot of back and forth about, why was this rejected? Some people liked it. I think you had said, Chris, well, the issue is that it was listed as a DAO bot, but maybe that wasn't exactly right. And then some people thought it was just too much, but then in the end, it was just rejected and then nothing really back. And so like that didn't seem to be a great way to go about it. So what we were thinking was that there should be specific feedback notes that are documented and then sent back to the proposer to be able to respond to each specific piece of feedback. So, going through the Discord and kind of summarizing it and saying, okay, here are the main issues here. One, it is not described correctly, and this was confusing to people, or didn't adequately talk about what the proposal is. Two, it's too much. And now, what's your response to that? Why are you asking for this much? Or are you willing to say, yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll take 45% of that or whatever it is, and then be able to resubmit pretty easily. So, that's the first part of this. I guess I'll just talk about the all these 3 points, and then we can talk about see what comments people have. The other is that within the first evaluation proposal form, we think that each line should have an abstain option, because for like very technical ones, I, for one, personally don't really, I can't really comment properly on the technical aspects of it. So it's better for me to just abstain than put a number, because any number I put is not really accurate. Doesn't seem like it's that challenging to do that. And then after the rejection happens on the second evaluation rejection, we should talk about what a postmortem communication should be like with the proposer. Just because these are all community members that we want to be feel good about putting the effort in to even make the proposal and then of course go through the whole thing. So we don't want to just then ghost somebody afterwards and say, yeah, sorry, it didn't work out. Or even actually, sorry, it didn't work out would be a great change from where we currently are, which is we don't have any specific way or procedure to do that consistently. So I'll stop there and just see if anyone has any specific comments to this concept and then these specific things that we're suggesting.
I think there's that Super Synapses is in line to give his comments too, so you'll have to step down. I did provide a little bit of pushback on overhauling the proposal process because personally I feel like our DD's quality has not really been there. And a lot of the issues I feel like I'm seeing us run into, to me, boil down on a better process for the DD. I do think having stuff in one place is a great thing. But it seems to me that the friction points lately, especially on 2 of the last proposals, was feedback being like it wasn't a lack of feedback, it was it being ignored, or not being conveyed efficiently, or like it really bummed me out to hear that we had scared off a dev, and it really bothered me. But at the same time, I also felt like I was getting the blame kind of as a governor that wasn't the DD governor, if that makes sense. So, we do have a lot of proposals, and I think that just having some base, these are the minimum requirements for DD, like meeting with the person at least once and making sure the DD is complete and all of those things are wrinkled, all the wrinkles are ironed out before it gets presented to a vote would really make the user experience better. So like I said, I'm pro putting things together, but I think just really making sure that we're checking off boxes and crossing our T's and dotting our I's as to far as what DD actually looks like would be more efficient than overhauling it altogether.
If it's okay, I'll say a few things. Y'all can hear me fine, yes? I have a
Yeah.
goofy mic set up with Rome, so yeah. So we've been talking about that in the governor's meeting a little bit. A few things I wanted to bring up. If we did allow someone to abstain from a specific category, it would allow us to identify, hey, here are some key points that we really do need to get some more due diligence done. For instance, if people are unfamiliar with the team, rather than having 8 people vote 5 and 2 people vote 10, it'd be nice to see 8 people abstain and 2 people vote 10. And we can see exactly and accurately where our understanding is on a topic. This also goes for some pretty in-depth math equations that come up from time to time in these proposals. I really would like for us to be able to identify a lack of knowledge or understanding with that. And something else I would say in the process, I really would like a requirement for us to vote to approve a grant be that a response put together on the feedback given in this meeting. Because if we're going to spend the time to put together a bunch of feedback, I don't think it's fair to us or to the project that we vote on it if that feedback is not addressed. If we say a project's too expensive, they need to say, no, it's not too expensive and here's why. Or, you know what, we lowered the price a little bit. If we say, hey, we really want to see front end stuff, we really have concerns about this or that, the same thing. I'll step down, but that's all I wanted to say.
I agree. And I just don't think things should be, and I made us think about it a couple weeks ago that I felt like things were getting pushed to vote that weren't ready. And that was negatively impacting everyone's experience. But, if it's not ironed out, it shouldn't be going to a vote, in my opinion. And I don't think we should be presenting DD multiple times either. The DD process is where the T's get crossed and the I's get dotted. If that's not done, we're not going to see favorable results when it comes to these evaluations, and we're not going to see favorable experiences, both from governors but also proposers. This will take.
But I think you both are also kind of missing the point about us providing feedback. It's just feedback. We cannot force anyone to listen to us. Of course, okay, they want tokens from us, then they probably should follow our feedback. But it's not like we can say, okay, they said it's too much. They responded, even if they just said, no, it's not too much. What are we supposed to do?
I mean, I ran into that with my, which one was it that I did with Wilder? It was like a 3-person DD. It was D13, Wilder, and I, and we did the Nomadex headline DAO proposal. Sorry, I've done the DD for quite a few now. And my recommendation was to withdraw the proposal because I didn't see it getting support. And, you know, I had a recommendation that would lead to what I thought would be a successful path for them. They decided not to take my recommendation, but it was noted and it got moved forward and it ultimately didn't pass. But all you can do is your best, right? And so, you know, in that particular instance, I had several meetings with the team, the proposer team. I had several meetings with the other people conducting the DD. Deadlines were missed, and to me, it just felt like it wasn't getting the support. It wasn't being a good experience on anyone. So my recommendation was to withdraw it and resubmit for a retroactive grant to address a lot of the concerns that the governors were sharing that we weren't able to really come to consensus on. But that was my job as somebody completing the DD, is to convey what I thought might happen and set them up to not be disappointed by the results. Even though my recommendation was different than someone else on the DD team. So I feel you, but I feel like you can also only do what you can do. So if concerns feedback is given and it's not addressed, to me that's
You vote no.
that's a two-way. Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, we had so in the end, either it gets to the second vote and we just vote no. And honestly, proposals have to deal with a no. They can't argue, oh, you voted no, I hate you now. That's like not a good response. So they can feel, in this case, disrespected by the way this was presented, this no, and by the comments. But in general, sometimes people have to accept a no. And like you said, you put in so much work for the headline thing. And then the question is like, okay, what did you get out of it in the end? Not a lot, sadly, in this case. And I think sometimes we also have to accept that a proposal isn't the greatest one it can be. We have to just say, okay, that's what I can do for you. I can propose the following recommendation. I can do make the following recommendation. But then it's you deciding if you want to go forward with the second vote or if you want to just stop here. And I took the approach of, okay, people said it's too much. I told them, people said it's too much. They argued why it's not too much. And then, okay, I can't do anything at this point if they don't want to change it. So I am not forcing them or not trying to force them anyway. In this case, in my case, I mean, they got the grant, so probably they were smart.
Your recommendation, though, was to support passing that. I mean,
yeah.
Regardless of how I voted in that, which was not in support of that, your recommendation as the DDer was to pass that proposal as was, correct?
That's true.
Okay.
I hope
I just wanted
I made
to make sure.
clear. Yeah, I hope I made clear that I wasn't like 100% supporting it. It was like, okay, if you look into the future for Voi and blah blah blah, then you could argue this value is fine. And in the end, it was more of a recommendation. But in the end, for example, after we had the discussion here, and some people with more experience when it comes to payment processing stated some things, I was like, okay, I think I will vote no in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I like. There's a lot of things that I think the two latest proposals confused me a bit. And I agree that, like, reading through it was very clear for the Discord bot. There was two things: calling it a DAO, when it not being a DAO really tainted how people looked at it. And number two, people just thought there was too much, and there wasn't a time for them to actually adjust it. Obviously, the answer is it's not going to pass if that's what the proposal is. And honestly, as the system works today, that was the right thing. We can argue that the system should be different, where that's they should have a chance to change it. And this is one of the suggestions that I made, is that maybe on no's, or like the second pass failures, there is an option for a third vote if they make the correct changes or something of that sort. But whatever the guys decide, I don't know. But I think one that's more concerning is the gyms one, where it was mostly against in the due diligence meeting. The person that did the DD was not really for it, and the request was to actually change things by a lot of people, and the proposer was able to get it passed as is by like talking to people outside of the process. And that was really weird to me, like how that was even possible. Would anybody like to talk about that?
I personally was upset by both of the subsequent reactions from these evaluations. First of all, like, everybody was mad, which is not helpful for somebody trying, and assuming goodwill. And I feel like it's fair to say every council member has demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt goodwill just by being here for this many weeks, right? That, people were straight up mad. Like, I do not want to be lambasted for my vote. Am I willing to have an open discussion on why I voted the way I did? Absolutely. I was really disappointed overall. This week was rough on the votes. I felt attacked on one hand for one, and like I didn't do enough to support my stance on the other. I don't know. It was not pleasant for anyone, I feel like, just to give my temperature on the matter.
I can understand why people got mad, because we are all very invested in Voy succeeding, and a feedback of a developer that they won't build on Voy now is not good. That being said, I personally think that's being a developer, being an entrepreneur, getting a lot of feedback, being knee jerky like that because of base of a comment, I think is a little bit too much. But I can understand how it's frustrating. And I understand how that would like things to be changed, and we should do our absolute best to provide an easy, smooth process. But decentralization is hard. Like, this is something that we said, decentralization in a way that there's so many different personalities to get something like through this. Like, approving a project is hard. Like we're so quick to criticize other groups of people that approved or didn't approve grant processes. Like, this entire process is hard. We know this now. And I think this is great that we're doing this in a transparent way where we can actually be criticized for what we're doing, so that we have the ability to make changes going forward. This is why we do this in a transparent way. And I think it's important.
I just to offer my solution on the idea anyways of an ideal solution in the meantime is to really focus on our DDs. DDers are compensated for completing a DD. So to me, minimum standards are a reasonable request. So simple things like meeting with the proposer, not presenting it until you're satisfied with your DD presentation, are things that seem like really simple, reasonable solutions to get at the heart of this experience. Because just looking back, I think Foodie had a really terrible experience with his first proposal way back period 1. And I missed the meeting that it was discussed in and brought it up the following meeting because I felt so strongly that we should really be thinking about the proposer's experience. So to have come now into, the last period and see it still happening, I think, asking the people getting incentivized to do the due diligence, which originally that was called a champion position, is really a good solution. In my personal opinion, is I think we should be stepping up to the plate and having hard conversations. I know I volunteered to do the headline, not because I was particularly excited about it, but that I wanted to have a seat at the table in that experience because it wasn't looking good. And I really, I wanted to not disenfranchise them, right? Like if it wasn't going to work, we wanted to see how it might be able to work. So I think, just
it's a great
the
point, Ira.
onus of it is we need to be collaborative in that DD spot. I don't know.
That's
Sorry.
a very good point, IRL. And I don't want to give any alpha away, but I believe the experience of the headline denial and then approval actually came to potentially more building outside of even the proposal. So it's very important how we treat the developers as whatever this process is. Our job is to actually tell them how things should pass, not why they don't pass. I think that every single no has to come with what would turn it into a yes. Has to. If you say no, you have to actually write out exactly what would turn it to a yes. And then there should be an ability for them to make that change. And then what they can do then is if they look down the list of who voted no and what for reasons, and they can say, okay, well, I can switch this person, this person, this person, this person by adding these things. That's enough votes. I'm going to add these things and we'll know that it passes now. That's how it should work. You all, the governors, aren't the gatekeepers. You're the enablers. You are the ones that know the system, know what it needs, and if you say no, you have to say what would turn it to a yes. And even if it could be that get a better team, your team doesn't have that.
Something you don't think we need, period, though. I mean, I just feel like that's a bit restrictive. That flatline rule.
But then what it would be is it's a no, and what would turn into yes would be you would have to say this project is not needed because this, and this. If you decided to actually build this instead, I would say yes.
Or if not needed, that's fine. And all that really means is we just don't want to pay for it. You can do whatever you want, but we don't feel like it's worth paying money. So that would turn it into a yes, is you're not getting any via for it.
Yeah. So every no has to have the reason it would turn into a yes.
I had visions of Ooth doing a Chubb Brit proposal. I would have a hard time thinking of a way that would be turned into a yes for me. So, it just was providing.
Well, I hope when you vote no, you are very lengthy with your no.
I mean, I can definitely envision situations when the proposal might not be within the focus of the network and the ecosystem, which might not warrant its passing with anything.
That to me is an exception to the rule, if anything. And I would say because it's an exception to the rule, you have to be extra lengthy with your response.
Yeah, as long as it's very clear why. It's just out of scope.
And hopefully, if something's that out of scope, it wouldn't get to that point of GD. It would be caught in the first layer.
Yeah, definitely. Or it might not even. Yeah, might not even get to that point, depending on the new process.
So yeah, not gatekeepers. You guys are enablers, and not only that, it's everybody's job to make sure that they have a good experience. There are people that went through this process that's rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't believe that their skill sets are actually good enough to actually build anything. But at the same time, it was my duty to actually communicate and make them feel better about the process, even if the answer is still a hard no. That's the mindset that you have to have, is they're all people, and that's the role that we're in as governors, or you're in as governors.
I do like the idea of including a postmortem follow-up, even if it's just contacting as the DD or just contacting as a follow-up. So like initial contact, review, postmortem contact, like those all seem like very reasonable things to include as a DD responsibility. In my opinion, that would really help improve the experience on both sides.
Yeah, I actually really agree with that. I think it's the worst thing ever to just get ghosted and not know whether it's
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
something or because it's something you've done. So regardless of DD at any point in the proposal process, yeah, they should definitely have a final outcome explained to them.
Honestly, I think that one thing that in the future is that I think that, and this has come up time and time again, that individuals that do the proposal should create some type of at least presentation video of like what they're building, why they're building, their pitch. And if it's maybe it's not live during a meeting, but it's at least a viewable thing that people can see. Okay, yeah, this is what it is. This is why. Because pitches are important, and we've always missed that.
But our pitches, okay, that might be my bias, but I view pitches as we want to get money from VCs who don't know what they are doing, but they have a lot of money and we want that money.
That sounds very biased. Low.
I don't want some marketing talk about, oh, I will build this amazing innovative product that blah, 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 AI something. So it would be like very
how many pitches have you submitted and that's done?
I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from, Lobo, but it's also the job of the people basically doing the proposal process to see through the bullshit, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I
But
like the
so-
idea of that.
We only have a couple of minutes left, so we're
Yeah.
and if you guys can all stay on, that's fine. I have a hard stop. Where did we end up with this? Because what I'm hearing is maybe it's not a massive overhaul to the evaluation system, but definitely we need some systemized way to give the feedback to the proposers so that they aren't ghosted. Or IRL, are you saying that is the job of the DD person, and so really there's no change that needs to happen, just whoever's doing DD just has to do a better job of a post vote communication
I
back?
feel like if Wilder was here, he would say that he's gonna sit down and outline some stuff, and then there would be some rules laid out. I just think outlining some key responsibilities for that position is like kind of an easy, low-hanging fruit to start addressing it. I'm not saying that is necessarily the end all be all or the only answer.
I think that's a great way to put it, IRL. I would definitely put it to the directors to collect up the feedback from all the governors and actually make some proposed changes to the current process, and just see what we can come up with there. Because yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to do this process or an adaptation of it on mainnet, and I think it's very important to get the feedback from all the governors, because I know everyone has a lot of opinions on it, and also probably from the proposers as well.
That's cool. And I just want to comment that when Benedict says governors, it's pretty amazing. And I hope that you would start saying governor instead of governor, because it's much more appropriate.
It's gonna sound like Chris. I feel like every time I say that, he does the most exaggerated accents.
Governor.
I know we're short on time, but I put up to have a vote to remove Coop last week, and I don't see it on the agenda now. I did not get a response when I reached out to him. Is that something we still need to do, or is he stepped down?
I thought
What is-
Wilder had reached out to him, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's
Well,
still gone this week.
I think he's aloof.
The process, I think, is the next meeting. They have a chance to respond, but
Yeah, we were supposed to give him some time to respond. I reached out to him as well via Discord. I didn't hear anything back either. So I think at this point, I guess we could go to a vote, and just he didn't get. We gave him the chance to discuss it. And at this point, I think that's just how it would go. But
yeah, I did tag him in Discord after the last meeting and just said, no hard feelings, just due to lack of absences and inactivity. I thought he'd already stepped down, but since you haven't, we are gonna I'm going to put forward to vote yeah. And I didn't receive a response to that either, and that was a week ago now. So
I don't think he's going to be offended either way, and I think we should just take the vote and probably do it. He probably assumes that he's off, and everyone assumes he's off too because he hasn't been involved since the very beginning.
Okay, very briefly.
Yeah, I
We
gotta
have a
go too. Can
problem-
I vote yes?
Yeah,
Bye,
we have a
everyone.
problem with bounty amounts. We should all think about how bounty proposed amounts should work in the end. Because right now builders expect, oh, there's a bounty for 5 to 50. And if it says build XYZ, then I build all of that, I get 50. That's it. And that's not what's happening because we have to approve every proposal again. So we all should think about that. And before you respond, Bennett, before anyone else goes, before you vote for the concentrated liquidity AMM, please read the comments in Discord. And please do not think that CL AMM means Uniswap V3. It's not the great thing we want to have on Algorand. It's a different version, and in my opinion, and Eric's from Vestige, not as good and not as scalable.
I'll say I definitely agree with you on the bounty front, Lobo. I think at the very least, in the meantime, the wording just needs to be clearer, just as a stopgap for now, just to make it very clear that it is a range, and it's up to the governors to basically decide on where it falls in that range, really.
I strongly recommend that you all don't vote yes on anything that isn't already done. We have 4 weeks left.
In theory, the contracts are on GitHub, and Eric and I looked at them, and that's why we know how it's built and why it might not be as scalable. So in theory, it's built. Maybe the UI is not built yet.
Yeah, strongly recommend we don't vote yes on anything that's not like fully done. I think that's over the next 4 weeks there will be new proposals, but they should all be retroactive proposals where this is the work I did. Please reward me for doing so, and you all should reward for people that did do awesome things.
when is the next directors meeting?
Isn't it usually on a Sunday?
I don't. The last one I went to, I think, was a Friday. Sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Friday.
I think none of the directors are here right now, so I have to pop that question in
Okay.
Discord. Well, Super Signup says apparently it's Friday midday Eastern time. All right, cheers, guys. Have a
All
great
right.
one.
Well, thank you, everybody. This was a fun one. Lots of, I'm sure I'm going to be lots of DMs. I hope so, at least, or open questions in chat. Please do. But thank you.
Cheers, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Bye-bye.
afternoon.